This has just arrived. I have a feeling I know what this is, and I'm really excited about this. Let's go for it. Let's unbox. It's kind of wrapped in orange tape. A lot of orange tape. Oh, very cool. I hope you can see that. SVBony SV405CC. It's the cooled colour camera. Okay, there we go. So it comes in a cardboard box. SVBony keyring. Brilliant. Wow. Okay, we have two boxes. I'm assuming that's the camera. And this. Okay, this is the power supply. It's not a bad cable. It is properly fused. I've even had cables without a fuse in the plug. But that's good. So this is a 12 volt 5 amp power supply. Here we go. You guys are going to see this before me. Oh wow. Okay. We have a USB 3 lead. We have an adapter, another adapter, another adapter. Okay, so that's to convert from a 2-inch to a 1¼ inch fitting. We have what looks to be a cleaning cloth, and then another threaded adapter, and we have the manual. Pretty good. Oh, hang on, no, there's more. There's more. Aha! To get the bag spacing, it looks like these are shims. This is the camera. It's in a really nice SVBony bag. Here we go. First impressions are, it's really nice. It's got a good weight to it. It's not as big as I thought it would be, but that's okay. USB 3 socket, your power socket, and a cooling fan. Then on the sides you have some air vents for the cooling system. And the bag itself is very well padded. It's got probably 1 centimeter of padding all the way around. And let's have a look. There's the sensor. So just to look at the instructions to check that everything that we've got here is what they're suggesting you should have. So we have a USB 3 lead, 2 adapters and the 1/4 inch adapter. We have a thread adapter, an additional thread adapter, a manual, the bag and the camera. And of course the power supply as well. There we go. The SVBony 405 cooled colour camera. This is what you get when you open the box. I'm on the SVBony website and I'm now looking for the drivers for the new camera, the 405cc that we see here. If you go to support and software and drivers and then go down to Windows, because that's the platform I'm on at the moment. So we've got a native driver, which is this one, which I need to install, and also the ASCOM driver, which is here as well. So I'm going to go and download these and install these onto my computer. If you scroll down, you can see all of the different software that these cameras are meant to support. Now, interestingly, it says here the SVBony 305, not the 405cc. That's interesting. So there's no actual driver specific for the 405. And if you look under product and hot products and then go down to the 405cc, there are no links to any other software that I can see anywhere here. Now there's nothing else there, even under the features, the specifications. So that's the only driver you can install under Windows, and it's the SVBony SV405 driver, which you have to install for ASCOM. The other SVBony camera is the native driver, which we have here. I'm going to test the camera. I'm going to test SharpCap and Nina. So let's go into SharpCap now and connect the camera. So I have the camera just plugged in here. Here is the camera. And it's just plugged in via USB 3, and I've got the power on as well. So there's the camera. This is the latest version of SharpCap. So we'll go into cameras, and the camera is there. So we'll select that. Okay, it has connected to the camera, and I can hear the fan has started on the camera, which is great. Okay, it's defaulted by the looks of things. If we drag this across to a RAW 8, so we'll make that a RAW 16 instead, and we want it to save as a fit, so that's fine. And we've got a debayered preview there as well, which is great. So I'm going to do a 30-second exposure. I'm just going to take a dark frame with this, and let's have a look at the thermal controls here. So at the moment the cooler's off, so I'll turn the cooler on, and we can set the temperature maybe at -5. Okay, wow, that is zooming down there. Look at the temperature dropping. Look at that, it was at 20 degrees, it's now at 9 degrees. That's incredibly fast. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but let's see which temperature it gets to. The cooler power is drawing 100% power at the moment, and it's now at -2, -3. There we go, so it's reached -5, which would be roughly where I would take my darks library. So it has been able to reach the required temperature, which is good. Now this is using the native driver in SharpCap, it's not using the ASCOM driver. Important updates from the 405cc camera. We fed back quite a lot of information to SVBony, and they've put a kind of summary page on their website, which is here. The camera will currently work with SharpCap, Nina and the Sky X on Windows. The drivers, there were two drivers. One is the native driver, which works in SharpCap, and the other one is the ASCOM driver. Nina released a stable version of their software which actually incorporates the functionality with the native driver, so you no longer have to use the ASCOM driver with Nina. Now this is really interesting. So if you go to Nina here, you can see there are no more betas available, you just have this one here, and this is known to work with the SVBony cameras. If we go to the changelog on the Nina webpage, so we just navigate to this here and then scroll down, we can see that it actually says it has been tested with the SV405 cooled camera. That's really good. So the native driver is now in Nina. So I've downloaded that, and here we are in Nina, and it does indeed work. If you look at the equipment tab here, I've now managed to cool to -10, and the temperature is pretty consistent. The fan, which is just down here, is on all the time, even though we've got these sort of power spikes going along. The power is much more consistent, and I've been able to take some dark frames, which is really good. So if you look at this image here, this is actually a 6-minute image. It has a Nina stretch on it at the moment, and you can see the amp glow on either side, but that's actually a pretty clean image, and the 294 sensor does have amp glow, and this is actually pretty good, but this will just calibrate out with dark frames. In addition, SVBony have said that they're developing a native driver just for APT. So for astrophotography tool, they're developing a native driver just for astrophotography tool, where you can control the cooling properly via APT. Now it says here this is hopefully going to be arriving around the end of June. So at the moment you can only use SharpCap and Nina if you're on Windows or the Sky X. The other thing which is really important, a lot of people have asked for Indie drivers for Linux, for Raspberry Pis. Now I know that some of the SVBony cameras are actually already on Astroberry, and I suspect that a Linux driver will come out for the 405 cooled camera, which will eventually be migrated into the Astroberry build. So I'm quietly confident that over time they will be able to get a driver for this camera into Astroberry, which will be great because that's exactly why I purchased this particular camera to use with a Raspberry Pi. So at the moment, this is the current situation, and it's a huge step forwards. We can use it with Nina and can use it with SharpCap. The cooling is now working. I'm currently cooled down to -10. I think it's really good as well that SVBony have updated the website here to actually give people this information. The 405CC, the SVBony cooled camera, a lot has happened this week, and there has been an update to Nina, which means the native driver for this camera is now compatible with Nina. So you no longer have to use the ASCOM driver. Now that is a big improvement because the cooling on this camera with the ASCOM driver was questionable. The camera also works with the native driver in SharpCap. There's an APT astrophotography tool driver coming, which will be a native driver just for APT. Also, SVBony have been in touch and they gave me a little file which you put in to Nina in the root drive of where the program is installed, and that allowed me to test the 1.7.1 driver for this camera, which is a big improvement on the cooling as well. So you no longer get that sawtooth wave in the cooling where the power goes up and then down, up and then down. You get a nice steady cooling as well. The really strange thing about this is I did a sensor analysis in SharpCap and it suggests that unity gain is 0 on this, which is a bit strange, and I'm not sure if that's correct, but we'll have to see. I won't be able to test this camera in detail until I get some astronomical darkness again. At the moment all we have is nautical darkness all the way through and then twilight again, so it doesn't actually get dark where I am at the moment. When the APT native driver comes out, I will test it and I'll let you know how it goes, and when we get to astronomical darkness I'll really put it through its paces. First impression, I don't know yet, I'm not sure. There's been some really interesting stuff on the internet about it. Until we get all of the software and all of the updates and then actually put the camera through its paces, we won't really know what it's like. So jury's out on this camera. I think I might be in the market for another camera. So not sure at the moment about this camera. It's difficult to tell, very early days, but I'll keep testing it and we'll see where we get to.